Hey, what's going on out there? Justice Severin back again from the OGC. Today we're talking about buyer psychology and really six-figure sales conversations. All right, for this one, I brought in our sales coach inside the OGC Intensive, Haitham, to master on the sales side, and really broke down really how you can leverage buyer psychology to understand how to move the prospect forward and really allow you to just get to that closing spot so much smoother there in your transitions. It was a masterclass. We broke down everything step by step for you. This is done right inside of our free Facebook group, Original Chapters Marketing. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. We'll get you right to the action here today, but let's go ahead and get right to it. Our simplified conversion formula, which is really one of my favorite ones, honestly, because at the end of the day, you can have leads, you can have all this other stuff, but if you can't close them, what good is it here? Am I the only one thinking that, Hyson? What do you think, man?
No, man, it's completely right. Like there's a lot of talk about like getting more leads, but what happens when you get them, right? Like what does your process look like from there to be able to convert them at an efficient and effective rate?
Absolutely right. An efficient, effective rate that where everyone talks about, or at least actually probably not everyone, not enough people talk about it. Just what's your closing percentage, right? What's your closing rate? When you really start dialing on the data and start tracking this stuff, in the beginning stages, no matter where you are, you may be just kind of just jumping on a sales conversation, on a sales call, and just not really tracking how well you're doing. How many you took in 1 week, how many you took in all this. So I could dive in so much, but really we're going to try and keep us on track here and let us get rolling. So let us know in the comments you guys are ready to go. Give us a let's go, and also drop a hashtag live if you want. Drop a hashtag happy Wednesday, hashtag glad to be here. And as always, I'm not mad at you if you drop a hashtag replay and you couldn't make it with us. All right, I'll let it slide for now.
All right, you gotta let it slide. Just this one though.
Just this one though, man. I can't do it every time. We need y'all here with us. Come on now. So let us know here too. I see someone else is dropping. That's good to see where you're at. I see Messenger Convos. I'll tell you right now, Facebook user, I'll find your name out later. You're not alone on the conversation side there. A big part, even honestly, we can probably even slide into that too as a way to kind of start this today. Really, one of the big things I want to talk about with you guys today as we dive in deep, like I mentioned, really how we're going to structure today is really give you guys some actionable steps to really get things rolling, give you like kind of our stages and how we go through our sales process, or more, not even the sales process, but like actually sales conversations, sales calls, really dive into that. Past that, as always, kind of give you an opportunity to see what it looks like to really work with us behind the scenes. As I mentioned, Haitham is an actual sales coach inside of our OGC Intensive here. So you're seeing the double whammy right here today. It's usually just myself. I'm glad I got some company, my man. And then lastly, we'll open up for a Q&A for any questions you might have here. We want to make sure we get you covered on all bases. So with things like that, with Messenger Convos, I see someone else is saying call to action posts. We'll make sure we get you hooked up. So let us know in the comments if you guys are ready to get going, because I can tell Haytham's ready. I know I'm ready. The music got us going. We're ready to go here. So let us know in the comments if you guys are ready for us to get into this here, man.
I mean, if they're not ready, we can wait.
I was going to say, I have no problem waiting.
I mean, you chilling? You got anywhere to be? Or
I mean, in reality, it's a beautiful day. Me and Haytham were just talking about maybe we should do this outside. If you guys aren't ready to go, we'll step outside, leave the gems for somebody else.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Hey, we'll take whatever you guys want here today. Let us know. Give us some likes and some hearts. Once I see something coming through, we see something. Not just me. Once we see something coming through here, we'll get it rolling.
I mean, we don't have to do this, man. We could be outside.
Come on, but I'd be totally fine with that. Like I said, it's a beautiful day. I'm trying to soak this sun in. I got some family over the house right now. I don't mind going to eat some food with them. Shoot.
All right, we think we have ready. No, I don't want to wait.
I see. No, there we go. Don't want to wait. All right, come on now. I love it. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So really to kick us off here, I want to really kind of break down some of the key pieces that we kind of believe here. And I know Haytham's going to give you guys some great stuff as well. But really just for one, we're going to talk about later, like I mentioned, understanding the stages of a sales call. And before we even dive into that, like understanding really how there's already sales resistance that much more when it comes to sales in general, right? And obviously it's for a variety of reasons, but in reality, there's just so much more day by day, especially in this industry. The consumer is getting smarter, right? What do you kind of have to add on that piece there, Haytham?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of we're in the internet phase. I mean, like buyers are more sophisticated, whereas before there wasn't such thing as doing research or kind of looking up a company or looking into different products or services. It was just kind of like you would get cold called for a particular product or service. You either like it or you don't. You move forward with it or you don't. Today, it's your reputation is everything, right? And it takes a while to build up a reputation, but it only takes one or two minor small moves to tear that all down. So it's something that you have to be cognizant about is, am I burning this bridge, right? Because if you burn a bridge once, twice, three times, now somebody posts on the internet, hey, XYZ person did this, you know, I mean, this thing to me, don't join them or don't work with them. That message gets out, people see it, and then there you go. Next thing you know, you're out of business.
So, right, all it takes is a simple Google review or something like that. Even luckily, something like I like to say too, we've had one of our clients there, Ryan. Someone was like bad mouthing him about something, and at least it was just like in a comment or a post or something. And at the end of the day, he turned into a lead, right? So it really, all publicity is good, but when it comes to that, though, it's so fragile. Just like Hysam's saying,
yeah, and you're always going to get haters, right? Like haters is a sign that you're doing the right thing. So like that's always going to come with the territory. The more success you have, the more people that are going to try to bring you down. That's just human beings. But I'm talking more about the people that have that short-term approach of like, I need to make the sale now. I don't care if it's in the benefit of the prospect or not. Like, I need to just make this sale right now. You know, it's more about them than the prospect.
That's so spot on. And I think that's like you're saying, it comes back to the word trust is so crucial in all of this, right? And part of it is kind of like the authority and the branding that you build up even before you ever step on a sales call like that. And I think a lot of it comes, we were talking about some things like movies have a large influence on this kind of things. The reason that people are so afraid and hesitant to jump in with a coach or a service provider, just because they know at the end of the day that they're seeing the shark behind the phone, right? Whether it's Zoom or audio, they can feel that. They're thinking.
And not even just, and like you bring up a good point, it's not even just joining with a coach or just jumping on a sales call. Right? Even just going from messenger to a sales call, there is already that sales resistance. I don't want to be pitched to, right? And you mentioned the movies, right? Like growing up, my favorite movie was Matilda. Leave a hashtag Matilda if you've seen Matilda before.
Come on now, drop a Matilda if you've seen it. Come on,
drop a Matilda. So I'm sure you're familiar with like Matilda's dad was like a used car salesman, but like a used car salesman in the true stereotype that it's meant to be. You know what I mean? And you see movies like Wolf of Wall Street, you see movies like Boiler Room, and that's what people think about when they hear sales. That's what the everyday person, they think slimy, they think dishonest, they think all these things that sales aren't, but it's just because of the, them being exposed to that's just kind of what they think. So it's on us as a salesperson, the coach, the service provider, the expert, to be able to have that in mind and be able to have their perspective shift through the conversation and through our interactions to where they're not getting that sense of, oh, this is like the 100 people that I've met or seen in the past that have offered or have drilled down XYZ product or service down my throat.
So true there, man. And like once it come to mind, Jerry Maguire, right? Show me the money. It's like, come on, that's their picture every time you try to, like, even you offer the call. I love that you brought that part up, because so much of it is that people even are struggling to really get people on the call on that side. And I think a lot of that comes down to all these things that we're saying. So how can you combat that? Even just to throw you guys a little quick tip on that piece, I always say, try and make that transition as casual as possible. One thing that I'm always telling our clients here is really avoid the words, let's jump on a Zoom call. Avoid the words, let's have a video chat. I want to say, like, let's just have a chat. You got 10 minutes. You got 15 minutes. That's always the kind of approach, no matter how you word it. And this is we'll get deeper into kind of phrasing and pieces like that there.
Yeah.
But so just that angle and really be yourself. The way that Hysam says something, the way that I say something, we're unique to ourselves here. So you got to really embrace that side when it comes to your personality.
Yeah, and it's just like the way I think of it is like, how would you like, and this is something that we work with like our clients on the inside, and this is what I tell them all the time is like, how would you ask that to a friend? Like they say like, oh, like, how do I ask this question or what do I do? It's like, okay, well, if you're at your if you're with your friend at a bar or like eating dinner, how would you ask that question? Would you ask it like that, or would you ask it some other way? And they say, oh, I'd ask it like that. So it's like, okay, why don't you just ask it like that, right? I think it's that we overcomplicate the process because we think we need to become something that we're not in order to make a sale. But in reality, we're just having conversations with people, with normal people that go through, they go through trials, tribulations, struggles, pain, happiness, joy. They go through everything that we go through. We're just having a conversation with them to see if they're a good fit for what we have to offer.
To elaborate on that point there as well, I want to speak, because somebody talked about call to action posts and pieces like that. One place that I see people really struggle to kind of get that branding and authority dialed in, what's going to be effective over the long term, is all of their content. They trying to really make themselves seem like the top expert in the world there. They're using vocabulary that they've never used in a conversation. And I think I literally just said this to a client yesterday too. You want to make it, this is what one of my copywriting coaches told me a while back. They said you want to make it so that if somebody reads your post without your name being on there, they know it was your post. They know that was a Justice post, right? That's the kind of mentality you have, and that speaks so. That's why I love that you brought that up there. So at the end of the day, let's be a human. People buy from people here.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that AI hasn't taken over sales yet. You know what I mean?
Come on now. There's some things that just can't. I mean, maybe I'm not gonna say never, but in reality, I think there's something to that, and that's why there are people who stand out, right? It's not like I mean, I've seen it in plenty of places before. In reality, people who are great salesmen, it's like, oh, it's like, how do they perform? Are they great performers? It's like there's obvious things about people who are top performers in the sales world. It just obvious pieces that are congruent there. And so just being aware of that in yourself. And a lot of that comes back to your style and your approach. So what we're going to teach you here, we want you to put your spin on it, because really, like we said, the cards are stacked against you. So we want to go ahead and show you how to break that sucker down.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that there, man. And really, just like we said there, another point I wanted to bring up too is people don't want to just buy from you because you're nice, right? At the end of the day, this is something where that might get you a little bit, but like, is somebody going to pay $1,000 to $5,000 just because you're nice? And part of that comes to, we're going to talk to you about kind of stage these calls. I think that a lot of that comes to how people picture you're supposed to have that traditional rapport, right? It's like, I know Heisman, I've definitely developed our sales approaches over the time and years. In reality, like a lot of people taught us, go ahead and just like really chat it up about the weather, right? How many chat it up about, oh man, you're from Wisconsin. Oh, I want to travel there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my great uncle's granddaughter's nephew's son was in Wisconsin once.
It's like, at the end of the day, when this person buys or doesn't buy, next week, tomorrow, 2 hours later, are they going to remember that? Not a chance, though, right? So we want to get you to start thinking about what matters most here. Oh.
Yeah, and I think that, like, to your point, Justice, I think there's a misconception that that's how you build a rapport and become a trusted advisor, is by, building that sense of rapport. But how many people actually care what the weather is where they're at? And for those of you that are watching, just be honest with yourself. Like,
just be honest.
Just be honest. It's just, no, it's just you and yourself. Like, do you actually care about how the weather is where they're at? Or are you just asking because it's just
someone told you to ask, right?
Told you to ask, right?
At the end,
like that awkward moment, like when you're in an elevator with someone, and it's just like people that get uncomfortable with awkward silence, and they're like, it's just like 3 seconds of silence, and they're like, so the weather's been getting pretty good out lately. You know what I mean?
Meanwhile, the other person's like, man, we don't have to do this.
Yeah, we can just sit here. You know what I mean? You don't have to.
I'm comfortable, man. I'm comfortable. Right. At the end of the day, the goal here is really to demonstrate to the prospect that you understand their problem. Right. Yeah. They're gonna, if they leave that conversation feeling that energy and knowing that you can help them faster than them doing it by themselves, like that's the real rapport, right? That's gonna show that you're an expert. Show that you're sharp as a tack. Show that you're enthusiastic behind it. These are the things that are really gonna build that true rapport there and get you moving right there, right? Let us know. Drop a comment. Comment some value down low in the comments here if this is making any kind of sense to you right now, right? Because if it's not, then we're gonna lose you on the rest of it. So let me make sure if you guys are following us here.
If it's not, then we just stop here.
If not, then like we said, we can go outside, man. Come on, we're okay with that, right? And really, another thing I want to bring up too here is, a lot of the times as well, when we're trying to understand whether or not we can speak to a problem, right? Sometimes it's not quite a problem. Maybe it's a gain, right? Maybe it's something that they're trying to fix at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. And so really trying to, the way that you address it, you really want to start selling and speaking to whether they are seeing it as a pain, whether they're seeing it as a gain, and whether they actually see something needs to be fixed or something needs to be improved on, and then how you fit in the picture. Right. And I think that once you kind of dial that in, that's why I always say, whenever someone tells me, oh, I had a sales call, it went okay. I was like, okay, how long was the sales call? Like 8-10 minutes. It's like, come on, you can't really understand where someone is at in a 5 to 10 minute conversation. Right. So that's when you could really get that understanding of it I think it's gonna be great. I'm over here laughing. I just saw this comment. Go enjoy the weather, man. Now, come on. I'm seeing everyone else dropping values. I love it. But does that make sense there, Hyson?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it does make sense. I think that people earn the right to feel heard. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times, like that, a lot of prospects come onto a call because maybe they're not aware that they have a problem, or that they think they have a problem, but it's actually Y that's a problem, right? And a lot of the sense is that people just want to feel heard at the end of the day. You know what I mean? They just want to feel like they're that they almost want to feel validated in the sense that their problem is worth listening to. What they're going through is worth listening to, right? And I'm not in a therapeutic way where we have to kind of solve all their problems and sit them down on a on a sofa and kind of like bring out a pen and paper and be like, okay, so we don't have to do all of that, but just genuinely listen, right? Be genuinely curious about this person, what's going on in this life. You're meeting this person for the first time, right? On a Zoom call. You have to channel that curiosity, like, hey, like, what's going on in this person's life? Like, how can I help, right? And I think it comes from that rather than I need to make a sale, I need to make a sale, I need to make a sale. That gives them that comfort because they don't feel like they're being attacked. They don't feel like they're being interrogated. It's just like, oh, this person's having a conversation to see if they can help me with the problem that I'm having.
Oh, and I think that's going to absolutely just develop that trust heavily there when you focus on the impact more than just making a sale.
Yeah, and to a Facebook user asked the question, how do we build rapport then? And that's what it is that you listen to them, you show, you make them feel like they're heard, and that you're following along and you're proposing a solution that's matching their problem, right? You're listening to them, you're understanding what their pain point is, what's causing the problem, how long the problem has been going on for, what have they tried to solve, how have they tried to solve the problem in the past? Like, what's the consequence of them not solving the problem? Like you're listening to them, right? And through that listening, through that sense of comfort that they gain and trust that they gain with you, that's how you build rapport. It's not by asking them about the weather or if, baseball game yesterday and how many home runs there was.
How well their son did in T-ball practice yesterday. These things. Yeah. And how do you know whether or not these are real? These are, once again, the term that comes to my mind is surface level. At the end of the day, you want to avoid these surface level questions, which I think that's a great segue into really, I want to kind of break down for you guys here too, how we kind of really dive into really our sales calls and our conversations, our kind of mindset process, why we kind of do what we do on that side. So comment rapport, if that's making sense too, because really we can even dive into that as a beautiful segue there too. Comment rapport if you're following what Hyson just dropped there in the comments. We want to make sure you guys are following along and really dialing this stuff in, because that is just such a common misconception, because I feel like I keep on saying it. So many people are just taught to do that. It's just like you're doing just because that's what you're taught. And
I was taught to do that as well, right? Just kind of talk about the weather for 5 minutes, and that's supposed to build some sort of connection with the prospect, you and the prospect, to where they trust you. When in reality, it's like, that it's BS. They know it's BS, and it's just kind of like this, like, all right, can we get into this?
Can we, like, I know you're here to sell me something. Can we like get to it? And once again, we talk about the word trust. Yeah. In reality, when they go in and you just, because you can tell too, because you and I both had that earlier in our journey, especially we've gone into conversations that way. And in reality, there's certain people you get into that conversation with and they're just not having it. They're like, why? They basically are they're probably being nice and not saying, why are you even asking me this question right now? Right?
Yeah.
You can feel it in the tone. And that's really why I would highly recommend trying to avoid that there, because now that trust that you're trying to develop, you're coming off as fake. You don't really care. Like I said, at 2 hours from now, you're not going to remember what the heck they said about that. So really just dive into what matters on that side. I'm glad that you guys are I'm seeing rapports fly through. So you guys are following us, which is perfect. Anything you want to add there before I kick us off to the next piece here, Hyson?
No, I mean, it's just kind of like what you said. You want to kind of, just be authentic, just be like, a lot of people think that they have to put on this mask, and that causes them to feel exhausted and dread sales calls, because they feel like they have to become someone, when in reality, you just bring your own personality applied to a process, and that's all you have to do.
Oh my, and just like I said, I feel like I was thinking this the whole time. I probably mentioned it earlier. Hyson and I have very different sales styles on this side, right? One of the things I was going to bring up, maybe we'll bring this up quickly before, because this is a powerful thing that everyone always is asking about. Let's drop this in the comments, and before we start answering on it, how many people out there like truly rely on a script? Say yes or no. Like, do you use a script every single time? Do you not use a script? Let us know. Yes script, no script. Let us know there in the comments. So what do you think as far as what do you think about just scripts in general, right? The word scripts, frameworks, people use this. I feel like it's a hot topic in the sales world. What are your thoughts on that there?
I'll tell you, early on, I didn't use a script at all. Never did. And, I would still make sales. Like it's not like I wasn't making sales. I realized that when I applied it to a script, I made a lot more sales because it was something that was based on a process, right? And I'll explain what I mean by that. It's very hard to track and improve something. I mean, to improve something that's not tracked. The only way to track something is when you have a process. So early on, I wasn't using a script. I wanted to get better at sales, but I wasn't able to sit there and figure out what I was doing, right? So to improve on it. So when I say the word script, a lot of people think it's like a line by line, like you must say these words in this order. And that's how that's not what we're doing. That's like a telemarketer where it's like you get a script and you read from it. What I'm saying is a framework, right? I love someone said a guideline, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's a guideline so that you don't get lost within your own process. If I'm coming to you, Justice, right? And let's say like I don't want to use the traditional doctor analogy because I think it's way overused in this case anyway.
Let's see if we can win here.
So let's say like you're selling me a yacht, for example.
Yeah.
You have to have a process to be able to take me down to get to the sale. If you don't, then I have as much leverage as you in the conversation.
Spot
because
on.
I can bring the conversation here, I can bring it here, I can bring it here, right? And you're gonna get off track. And I challenge anyone that tells me differently. Anyone that tells me differently, I challenge that, because although sometimes going off script is important, like sometimes there is times where I go off the framework and I bring it back, but I'm doing that. I'm not allowing the prospect to do that. When you allow the prospect to do that, now you're one step behind them and you're following their lead as opposed to them following your lead.
I love that there. I mean, there's two things that comes to mind off of that there. The second, I'll give my like a true opinion on it. But the first one was, I love how you kind of said, just like the idea of having a control, right? It's like, even when, obviously, for all of you know, we're so big on free traffic here and really leveraging that in your business. But even like when it comes to things like diving into paid ads down the line, like when it comes to paid ads and you're doing a lot of testing and different pieces like that, or even consider this for your own content that you're doing, if you're promoting with free traffic organically on YouTube, anything like that, having some kind of framework allows you to just go ahead now and test different controls there, right? So in reality, as an example, let's just say for a piece of ad that you're putting out there, you want to go ahead and see what is going to be your best ad, right? Well, if you just keep on testing you test this piece of copy with this image and this one and that, you're never going to know where the wins are coming from. What's really pushing that for success.
What's working and what's not working.
What's working and what's not working, right? And so when you really have something you can at least follow and then adjust different controls inside, like, maybe instead when you're testing something, you're going to keep the same image for 4 different ads, 10 different ads, and you're going to try 10 different pieces of copy. Now, at least the image, it doesn't have to do with the image. It's just the copy we're judging here, right? So that's that hits home for me heavily there, because really that is so crucial. At the end of the day, if you're just winging it on every single call,
that's what marketing is, right? If you boil down what like the word marketing is, it's just trial and error. It's testing, right? But if you change everything at once or you change nothing, how are you gonna ever improve? You're just going to keep doing the same thing, right? But I want to say one thing to the point that I was mentioning before, because it can be misconstrued a bit. What I'm saying is that, like, I don't want us to sound robotic. I don't want you to sound like a robot, like of the words. But what I'm saying is you want to set a precedent, right? And I'll give you an example. Like, let's say if I were to go into Justice's home, right? There's a precedent of what's allowable and what's not allowable. Like, for example, I can't take his guitar that's in the frame and smash it on the floor.
Relax, man. Come on now.
You know what I mean? I can't do that because that's not acceptable. That's not permissible behavior, right? And the same thing with like sales calls. Like there's things that are acceptable on a sales call from the prospect, and there's things that aren't. If we don't set the precedent, right? If we don't set that precedent, then anything is allowable. They can talk about whatever they want. They can do XYZ. They can say their own patterns, their own thoughts, continue with those same behaviors, and we just allow it.
Come on now, and that's a dangerous place to be right there, honestly.
Dangerous place to be.
You know, and I love that. Really, that was to lean to the second thing. I just really wanted to hammer on that because I thought it was a great point. The second thing, which is really my opinion on scripts, frameworks, is sometimes I like to believe. A lot of times I like to mentally believe that I don't use a script. And once again, the way that hopefully you're catching on here, that whoever this Facebook user is, you get a little prize here because clearly me and Haitham agree with you 100% on this side. At the end of the day, if you don't have some kind of framework, script, whatever word you want to use here, right? We're all on the same page. Like process, guidelines, exactly. If you don't have something like that to follow, you're gonna it's gonna allow you to go so far off course. And so for myself, I would sometimes say, you guys see I got a door back there. My wife hears, she's heard plenty of sales calls I've been on, and half the times I'm like, yeah, I don't even pull up a script when I'm on a call. I just go right through it. But in reality, I've done so many calls that I am asking so many of the same questions. I'm starting my calls off the same way each time. And it's because I've just done it so many times now. So yeah, I may not have a literal script in front of me every single time, but best believe I'm using the same guideline over and over and maybe tweaking that to test out different things inside there. So that's how I see it there.
Yeah, no, I love what you said, because with experience, you're allowed to kind of like, quote unquote, break the rules a little bit, right? Because you have that Rolodex in your mind of the sales conversations that you've had, where you can go back and be like, okay, I should say this at this point because it's best suited for the moment, right? And I think that like you're only afforded that luxury when you have a process that works, where you can dive off of it. If you don't have a process, then there's no such thing as delving away from it, because it's just there's no structure.
And that's so big right there. Comment process right now if you guys are following along. We weren't even planning on diving deep into this right here, but at the end of the day, I think that we both just know how critical that aspect is, especially as we progress here into what your sales calls should really look like. So yeah, comment process right now and keep hitting those likes and loves button. I want to make sure the whole community is seeing this. I see we got a great group of people here. Let's keep this rolling. I see someone said, your rhythm, let's see this here. Your rhythm is so practiced, it's ingrained, but it could still be distilled into a pattern. Absolutely. Absolutely. Once again, you Facebook users out there, there's one Facebook user who's killing it right now. I don't know.
Yeah, just imagine this whole time it's just the same person.
This whole time it's just one person knocking out the park. Come on. No, we appreciate you guys here. I'm seeing some processes rolling through. Love it. Love it. Love it here. So I want to kick this off now. Now we'll get back a little bit to where we were talking about before. How do you usually, since we can be a little blunt here too, how do you usually start a sales conversation? When let's say this, when someone picks up the phone, when someone shows their video on Zoom, for that first minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, let's say for the first 3 minutes of that call, what does that consist of for you there? Right? What can you give? What tips? What does it consist of? Anything there too?
Yeah. So basically, the first 3 minutes, like you're basically trying to establish why this person's on the call. Like why? Like in my head, it's like, why are they taking an hour out of their day to chat with me about what they came to chat about, right? What are they looking to get out of the conversation? Like what's their goal from getting from this chat today? And basically kind of getting a bit of a lay of the land of where they're at right now. So let's say affiliate marketers, coaches, or whatever, let's say you solve lead gen. I'm just giving this as an example. Let's say you solve lead gen. You want to get a sense of what they're doing for lead gen now. What are they currently working on, right? How long they're doing it, what caused them to go down that route. Those are some things that I want to know, right? Also, disarming them. We talked about sales resistance in the beginning of this live. We want to constantly disarm them. If I come on a call, hey Justice, how's it going, man? I'm so excited to man. I've been thinking about this for 2 days. I've been dreaming of this call. I just wanted to just have a chat with you and kind of share with you my product and my service. Everything is amazing. It's the best out there. You're gonna love it. Like, dude,
you just gotta be jacked up a little bit, man. Come on. Now.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere, right? Like,
yeah, come on.
If I come on a call like that, you're gonna be like, whoa, what's going on over here?
Wait a second now.
Because that's what people tell you. They tell you to be excited, right? They tell you to, like, you know what I mean? They tell you to be overly enthusiastic. But what that does is that it's like people get like, dude, like, I thought we were here to talk about lead gen. Like,
So I could now, and that leads to, I look at that because the word that come to mind for me was surprising them, right? And really, I love that. Disarm's a really good term for that. There, really, I think that it's just one of those things where when it comes down to so many different parts of a sales conversation, that so many people are so quick to like want to surprise people, and really at the end of the day, that surprising there is, it's not, doesn't feel good if you're on the other side of that, right? It doesn't feel good when you just all of a sudden you throw an off route at somebody randomly. It's like it's catching them off guard and not the way that you want to. That's how I see it there. So I really like that analogy, right? And the whole overly enthusiastic. We've all seen it before, right? Exactly. So that's where it comes down to too, keeping it genuine with yourself. Keeping it genuine with you there.
And we talked about this before, like Justice, like you're naturally a more upbeat, you know what I mean? Like joyful, kind of like that's who you are, right? So that may work for me. People that know me, I'm more laid back, I'm more, you know what I mean, more chill. So if I come on a call and I'm like, oh my God, this is, you know what I mean, I'm so excited to spend the next hour with you. For me, it feels very inauthentic. So like it's gonna come across to them as like inauthentic because it's not me. You know what I mean?
They're guaranteed to feel it because that's not gonna last throughout the call. You can't put on this fake persona and be genuine.
Yeah, not like, at least with like 3 cups of coffee, like, you know what I mean, it's not gonna happen. But aside from that, it's like people sense it, you know what I mean, like people have a very high BS radar, you know what I mean, like and that's what we were talking about with like the rapport. People can tell it's BS.
Absolutely, that right. So that's even why for me, I know I'm almost certain Heisom's the same way, and really I like how you mentioned that too. Once again, we've said it before, but Heisom and I, we both treat sales calls differently because of how our personalities are. So that's where I want you to take that away from this. All these tips that we're given to you, sharpen that steel, get out there and take action with this stuff, because you're going to dial into your zone of genius really when it comes down to the sales side to be able to get out there and perform at your highest level, really. And that comes with practice, right? I just got done with someone interviewed me in one of their marketing groups earlier today, actually. And they were saying how in reality, just how the struggle comes with really not having results and how you can really stand out that way. And I think that really dialing into your sales process and becoming authentic with who you are is huge in sharpening that steel really. Because at the end of the day, what happened to me, I had my first high ticket sale way back when I was starting off, and Heisom knows the story, right? Come on now. He was coaching me at the time, right? And so in reality, it got refunded. I closed the person and it got refunded. And right, I could have, and I remember this mentality I had behind it too was, and Heisom was big on this as well when we were talking about it. It's like, man, you closed the deal. You made it happen there. And so even after that, 45 days later, I went without closing another high ticket sale, without having, I maybe closed a couple $100 sales, but the whole time I was continuing to sharpen that steel, finding out where my sweet spot was on sales calls and really understanding that. So I just want to really let you guys make sure that hits home for you there too. Go ahead.
I want to add on to that, Justice, because I think what you said, I know we're here to talk about buyer psychology, but I think it's also important to talk about the psychology when you're selling, right? Because I think it ties into that. And I do want to say that because I was there when that happened, and you were upset by it, but you weren't discouraged, and I can tell that, right? You weren't discouraged. You knew that you did the right things, and that particular prospect, they had their own false beliefs, their own narrative kind of holding them back, because, you know, I mean, you did nothing wrong. You went through your process, you got the outcome. They just, for whatever reason, had reservations. They kind of got that sense of fear, that buyer's remorse.
Absolutely.
And then they just kind of, you know, took it out. But, and I think it's important to not be discouraged, right? It talks about, like, Stephen R. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you haven't read that book, read the book.
Ooh, okay? Get on that, people. Come on.
Read the book. Okay. One of the habits is sharpening your saw. Right. And he talks about that over and over again, is that, you know, I mean, it's great to kind of learn stuff. And I think that in the info marketing space, we get into that learn. But when do we actually implement it? When do we actually put it into practice?
And that's why I preach so heavily imperfect action. Like the first day when somebody starts to work with us, imperfect action has to be the forefront of your mind here, because we can talk about it all day, but if you're not getting out there in the field, it means nothing.
Exactly.
It means nothing. I love that you brought that up there, man. Mindset's such a powerful piece, right? And being an entrepreneur, being an online coach, marketer, you are guaranteed to have hurdles in this business. There's no if, ands, or but about it. It's how you come across the other side there, man. I appreciate you even sharing that too, because that's how I had to see it. At the end of the day, I could get super discouraged, let it throw me to slump for a week. It's like get back on the saddle and get back to it, right?
Yeah.
It's like you proved, if anything, I proved it to myself. So it's like, now get out there and do it again.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that you brought that piece in there, man, honestly. And really what I was gonna say too on top of that too, and once again, let us know if you guys get some value from that too there, honestly. We're throwing a lot more than I planned. Isom's over, he's opening up for you guys, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to tell him to zip it for a little bit. No, but I love it here. Hopefully you guys are getting some value out of this. What I was gonna say too, for the way that I like to start these calls as well, and Isom, you can tell me it's similar on your side. I want to get right into it. Say hey, how's it going? Like, I want to be mindful of your time. Let's get right in. And then really, pretty much, I want to be mindful of your time. Set my intentions for the call. The way I like to use the word pre-framing, right? So, hey, I want to be mindful of your time. Pre-frame the call and how I want this call to go. Whether or not I can provide them value or not. What the options are going to be if I actually can help them. What it's going to look like if I can help them. And then at that point, get right into the conversation. Yeah, that's personally how I like to kind of get on that point. What are your kind of thoughts on that approach, and maybe how you kind of see it as well on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I like getting right into it. That's kind of my mindset as well. The pre-framing I don't do as much. For me, if anything, is very casual. Like, let's say like I have a 2-step process for my sales. Mine is just basically like, and I do like the pre-frame, but like it's like more of like a, hey, like, saw you booked, quick 10-15 minute chat just to kind of see what's going on, see if we can potentially help, like, and then just get into it.
I love it there. As you can see here, neither of us talked about what city were you born in.
Nope.
Did you get your passport renewed last year? How's COVID?
Yeah,
we're not bringing this stuff up here. Come on, we laugh about it, but in reality, we laugh about it because we've seen this.
But I also laugh about it because I'm laughing at myself.
Because
you know what I mean?
Hey, we all start somewhere. So if that is you, acknowledge it. Be truthful with your inside and really think, am I doing that? And catch yourself.
Actually, funny story real quick. I think at one point, I used to ask people what their favorite fruit was.
Stop.
I kid you not. This is actually a real story. I'm not even making this up. I had somebody tell me because early on, like when I was in sales, I was like taking any information, which in hindsight, there's certain people that I shouldn't have listened to, but like they were like, yeah, just kind of like I'm like, I don't really want, like, even at that time, I'm like, I don't know if I should ask people like what the weather is. Like, I don't really care about that. And he was like, okay, let's ask them anything. Like, what do you care about? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I care about them. I care about the results they're getting, but I don't know if I care about that. He's like, okay, just think of something. I'm like, something random. Like, okay, like what fruit do they like? So I would start off the call with like, hey man, what's your favorite fruit, right?
I'm over here thinking, is this story true? That is great, and I believe you. That's
It's a true story.
And once again,
that's when I'm laughing at myself because I know that you know what I mean.
And that's just one of many. I know we've all been on. I see someone's throwing the LOLs out here. We've all been told so many different things that are so similar, right? And whether it's fruit, sometimes I probably brought up fruit just by accident. I'm sure I've talked about dinner. Oh yeah, I just had lunch. It was delicious. I had fish tacos. They're like, man, I don't give a dang about your lunch, man. Come on. I don't care. Right. So in reality, I just love that. Once again, thanks for being vulnerable here for us too. Let us know down in the comments too if you guys have ever done something like that too. What do you guys start your conversations with? And you kind of take that approach. You trying to laugh? Let us know here too. Maybe you can give us a chuckle here. Do you guys talk about pickles? What do you got going on that side? But really continuing past that too. One of the pieces as well. So really, this is how the conversation is starting to go. Right now, at that point, what I want to do to really build and develop that trust is I want to understand what's the problem, right? Understand what's the problem and why is that problem a problem itself, right? Because once you can really understand that and they believe that you understand what their problem is or what their gain is, as you mentioned before, depending on how they're seeing it, right, through their lens, because we can't just be thinking how, assume things. That's the last thing we want to do in a sales call. And that's really just a good mentality to have, because if you don't assume things, it means you're going to get really good at starting to ask the right questions, right? So really, that's one of the next big pieces, I think, leading into your next part of your conversation is trying to make sure you understand what that problem is and really starting to ask the right questions around getting that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, you want to establish why they're there. You know what I mean? What problem are they looking to solve, and getting into that, right? As you mentioned, kind of getting the problem and going a bit deeper, right? As to how long the problem's been going on, and what's causing it, and all that.
Oh, I love that, there, man. Right, and at the end of the day, there's so many different questions you can ask. I did a live in here about 2-3 weeks ago, diving into some things around piercing questions. Like the better it really. I like how you mentioned this too, the whole elevator thing. So many people get uncomfortable with that 3 seconds of silence, because in sales, a lot of the times we talk about this, the way that you say things, deliberate pauses, right? These are things that you need to start to embrace and start to really lean into, because sometimes to ask these questions, get people to open up, it's gonna cause you to do things that make you uncomfortable. And right at the end of the day, you gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable here, right? So really, go ahead. That's a powerful piece. Throw it in there, man.
So, and this goes back to us having different styles, which is interesting.
Oh, come on, throw that. And hey, hit the like and love too if you guys are getting some value to this.
So I would argue that if someone is uncomfortable asking questions, it's either two things: either they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, or they haven't asked those questions to themselves.
Man, that second one too, especially. You guys hear that? Let's hear a little repeat on that one there, man. That's powerful. That is powerful.
Yeah, so it's one of those two things, right? It's one of those two things, and a lot of times we feel awkward. It's not because of the questions, it's because we haven't asked ourselves those hard questions. We haven't asked ourselves, if XYZ problem persists, what's going to happen? We haven't asked ourselves that. We all have problems, but we don't ask ourselves that. So when it's asking those questions to a stranger or someone we just met, we feel like, oh, like I don't want to ask that. That makes me feel uncomfortable. But it makes you feel uncomfortable because you haven't asked yourself.
Oh, and that same mentality, as we were speaking even earlier today, that is going to hurt you down the line throughout the sales call, right? If you're having, I love that we're already bringing this up now, because if you're having these thoughts right now at this part of the conversation, what happens when objections start to come up? What happens when you start to present your offer, right?
It's just downhill from there, because you don't have that conviction and that certainty within yourself to take action on what you need to take action to lead someone or a prospect to take action on what they need to take action on.
Oh, I love that thing, man. So I see Facebook user again, he's crushing it today. Either we feel awkward because we've never asked the questions to them before, or we've never asked the questions of ourselves. It's so true. And that's where even in the anticipation post today here, I put in the group all around the congruency, right? If you're lacking that congruency with yourself, you're gonna struggle, man. You are going to struggle there. So just pushing past that. I see someone saying value. Comment value below too if you guys are getting some value from this. We're really.
Yeah, I think we're giving too much, man. I didn't come here today anticipating to give all this.
I didn't sign up for this here today, man. As you can see, thank you. So I'm really pumped to have Isomer too, because I just want to make sure that you guys are soaking this stuff in, because so much of the time, it's all about the little things, right? Really all about the little things that end up compiling in your business and get things really moving to the point where you can start to see some great results there. So I want to see you guys really, I see someone says, keep it coming there. I want to take a quick timeout with all the value too, because I can see they're loving it here, man, which is awesome on that side. Let's call a timeout on the play here, because as always, I want to make sure, really give you an invitation at the end of the day. Because for anyone who's really struggling with, they're struggling to really gain sales conversations in the first place. Like we talk about, you may have a brand, but you're having a tough time really building up that audience, building up that authority to the point where you can have a sales conversation. Maybe even like we talked about, get to the point where you can even book a call with somebody, right? Really get to the point where everything we're telling you right now can be as impactful and as high level as possible. Or even just at the point where you're struggling to just really lock in those sales conversations. Really, if you're a coach, service provider online right now, really building a successful business on Facebook has changed my business drastically. Hisam's and everyone inside of our OGC Intensive here. And really, if you're looking to grow a wildly profitable business right here on Facebook, I want you to comment the word sales below, and we'll go ahead and reach out, myself or one of my group specialists here, and you'll be able to kind of really just see whether or not we're a good fit to work together, right? Like I mentioned, for myself, really dialing into these high income skills and understanding how I can leverage that on top of free traffic, and really giving myself the chance to stand out. As for a lot of people know my story, I was able to become debt free because of this industry, right? So in reality, giving yourself a chance to really stand out in your business there. I want to see what you guys can do. I want to see what we can do to really build that game plan with you. So go ahead and comment the word sales below. We'll see if we can help and really just kind of see what problems you're facing. really kind of, even if we're lucky enough, have one of my group specialists kind of give you an idea of what we can do before they even really dive into what you got going on. Take a look at your profile, take a look at your social media, and see what we can do to help you there. All right. So go ahead and comment sales below, and we'll go ahead and hook you up on that side. But really, to continue past that there too, I'm seeing this as well here too. Someone saying, dropping the sauce. Come on now. We can't help it over here, right? We're just really trying to make sure we give you guys what you need to get to that next level right there. So with that next piece there too, and is there something else that comes to mind as you before I keep going there?
No, I mean, I think we're tracking along. I mean, it's just it's just a conversation, right? Let's not, I mean, sometimes people tend to overcomplicate it. I mean, it's just a conversation that we're having.
Exactly there, right? And I can see we got John, one of our specialists on the line right now. Definitely feel free. We can have him reach out to you as well there too. And really, I like that pact as well, because one of the things, even with the phrase and conversation and pieces like that there, I think at the end of the day, what's such a big piece too is why we want to get people to really get good at asking these types of questions, is because we want to get people to really verbally commit to what they're thinking, right? We want to get people to really, it's one thing to have someone think something, or even ourselves. Let's look at right? We talked about even between ourselves here. Imagine right now you're thinking, I want to make 20K per month in my business. You're just thinking it. How much more real does it get when you say it out loud, right? And so now imagine that same impact when you're inside of a sales conversation, right? It's one thing for them to be thinking they have a problem, but if they're just thinking to themselves, it means nothing. We really need to get all that on the table there. And that's one of the big reasons why, once again, kind of comes back to that, getting really good at getting people to understand and really asking those right questions inside of a conversation there. I think it's just such a big piece. And then understanding really, when you have that, it's going to allow you to really understand whether you want to sell to a pain or sell to a gain that needs to be fixed. And I think that's really can just help you elevate that much more inside of these conversations you're having on that end. And really too, while we're waiting too, and once again, keep hitting the like and love button. I love that we still got so many people on the line here, which is awesome. I want to go ahead too, and let's go ahead really and open it up to some Q&A. I want to see too, because at the end of the day, I can't believe we're already going on like 50 minutes here. So I want to go and I want to steal too much time from Hisam here. He's a busy man as well. Drop any questions you have. We'll even take this last bit of time here to make sure we can answer any questions you guys have on anything we've talked about, or anything we didn't talk about here, just so we can give you some clarity on. I did see, honestly, there was a question before. We answered the one about rapport. I saw someone say something about messenger conversations and call to action posts. I don't know if there's something you want to drop on that there. Maybe we can see what we can do to help them on that side there.
I would say you're the expert on that, man. So I would.
Come on. You said I'm a default to justice. Hey, really, I'll speak on this one because I think this is such a big piece to my eyes. Really, like I talked about in content before, content. Let's take it back to how content meets sales calls, how content meets your sales conversations. Your sales conversations are going to be so much stronger when that authority is built, when that trust is built, when they feel like they know you before they even get into a conversation with you, right? So when it comes to your call to actions and your content there, I see all of these as ways to start pre-selling your audience. So one of the best tips I can give on a call to action post, something that I'm always telling people this as well, the power of strong bullets, right? A lot of the times too, I do a lot of long form posts. I do short form posts. Right now, I'm going to talk about long form posts for a second, because I think that those are ones that people find a little bit trickier, even though they both are extremely powerful. In a long form post, a lot of the times I see people make mistakes is for one, they'll put like their call to action in the middle of a post. And for me, I always want to end my post with a call to action. And before I even put that call to action there, I want to give people something that they can really sell them on this call to action. How can I make it so that it is such a no-brainer that they're going to want to drop that hashtag, right? On a piece of content, on your YouTube videos, on your TikTok videos. You have to think about that first and foremost, and that's going to make your call to actions 10 times more successful. Because a lot of times people just kind of give value, and then just kind of drop something at the end, and they're wondering why it's falling flat in their face. I think there's such a big piece is right before you do that, understanding how you can really sell that before, right? If you're trying to sell someone a call to action to one of your free trainings, right before you go ahead and like tell them what to do to get the free training, literally right before, I mean like the line before in a piece of content, if it's written, you want to really spell out exactly what's in it and exactly the benefits that are inside of that there. That's one of the best kind of quick tips that you can implement into your content immediately on your call to action post there to help out your side there. That's somewhere, and the better you can get at adding that, listen to this word here, specificity. Start getting specific and stop being so vague, right? The vagueness is what's killing your content. The more specific you can get, the better. Really, and I could go on about giving examples about that, but that would take another half hour. So I hope that hits home for you. Whoever asked the call to action post questions there, just such a powerful piece on that side. I don't know anything you got to add to that too.
No, man, ditto.
Come on, man, that's straightforward there. Let us know any other questions you got. Otherwise, hey, it seems like really we're about to be at the top of the hour, so I don't want to let this thing go another 3 hours because we easily could. But I want to cut this sucker off. So, any other questions you guys have there, let us know on that side. But really, Hyson, man, thanks for jumping on here, man. It's been a great time. Obviously, like I said, he's he's a sales coach inside of our OGC Intensive. So really, it's just always great to pull him out and show what we got behind the curtains over here. Let you guys.
Yeah, we can do this, man. This is a lot of fun, man.
Absolutely, man. I really hope. Let us know down in the comments below if you guys. I see someone said 3 more hours cough. If you guys got a ton of value, drop a hashtag value, drop a hashtag knowledge, drop a hashtag whatever you feel like fits to how you got some value out of this conversation here today. Because really, like I said, we want to make sure that you're leaving this looking to impact more people. And how is the only way that you're going to be able to impact more people?
Did we get a hashtag Matilda or no?
Say that again?
Did we get a hashtag Matilda at all or no?
I don't think we did, man. I don't think we did. I didn't see our Facebook user drop a Matilda here. I guess not, I was thinking about the chocolate cake scene. Shoot. That's all that comes to mind.
Was that with Bruce?
That was when the kid's sitting there. And
yeah, it was Bruce.
Who's Bruce? Oh, that's his name. I forgot the kid's name.
Yeah. I can't believe nobody's seen Matilda.
Come
the
on.
Call to action should be go watch Matilda.
There you go. Hey, Matilda. There we go. All right, you're not alone here, my man. Someone's following. There we go.
Right. Somebody knows what we're talking
Somebody knows what we're talking about here. So, like I said, thank you so much for having us, man. I don't see any more questions, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. Honestly, I see a wall. Is that? Let's see if you know this play here. I got nothing.
Walzing.
Does that mean something to you?
I think they meant watching. I don't know.
Oh, what? I don't know. We're out of the loop on that one, Facebook user, but we appreciate.
We got a question last minute at the buzzard.
Oh, someone's throwing it right before the shot clock goes. What is something you definitely don't need to include in your sales call? That's a great question, Facebook user.
That is a good question. Facebook users is bringing out the great questions.
Dropping bombs here today. What's something you definitely don't need to include in your sales call? Well, whoever's got something first here, I can go ahead. Something you don't need. I mean, well, I'm not going to include this as the answer, but obviously, like we said, that fake rapport you don't need. Yeah. That's the first thing that probably 90% of people on here need to drop immediately, because it's not building up the true rapport like we're trying to have there. So that's one on the house. Well,
I would say, yeah, definitely the fake rapport, and I would say the facade. Learn to adapt sales to you versus you adapting to sales.
Love that. Love that there. That's big on that side. I'm trying to think one thing on when it comes to, I love to help you guys on the pitch and the offer side. One thing that it comes to there, one thing that you don't need to include for myself, here's one thing I don't need to include, is I try to never include the word offer. I try and stay away from the word offer. It's always, you don't want to come off with that way, and because then all of a sudden, at least that's how I think about it. When I say the word offer, someone says the word offer, it's like my sales, all of a sudden my consumer brain is just triggering like, oh, wait a second. The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio is about to come storming in here any second now. So
he's about to take all my money.
Someone's trying to take all my money, right? So that's one thing that I would try to.
I would say, But related to that, Justice, you bring up a good point. Like, I think that there's a lot of people that are very features and benefits type. You know what I mean? They want to just sell based off the features and the benefits. And I think that you can get wrapped up in like the sense that like more and more and more, right? If you just dump like all of the features and benefits of your program onto the person, it's two things happen. A, they feel overwhelmed. And B, they're like, you know what I mean, they're kind of questioning, is this actually going to solve my problem, right? Did this person actually listen to me? If you say, hey, Justice, based on what you told me, based on XYZ problem that you mentioned that you're having right now, this part of the program will help you with XYZ. It'll help you with your lead gen, blah, blah, blah. And this is how it'll help you. That way you're showing that you're listening to them and you're offering a solution based on the problem that they mentioned that they're having. Not just, oh, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. It's like, dude, I just cared about those 2 things. You mentioned 17.
That is so. I hope that one hits home for you guys there, because that's one of the best tips we can leave you with here. Is at the end of the day, here's one thing I like to say to keep it very blunt: is every time you get on a call, you should be making a different offer every single time. You should, because it should be tailored towards what that person needs, what they're looking for. And if you can zone in on that instead of just focusing on the exact, like Haitham said, the features that your program happens to have. Oh, there's 16 coaching calls a month. There's 17 training videos. That they don't care about that. They care about what are they going to get from that?
What are they going to get, and how is that going to get them to where they're looking to go?
That's what you want to start hanging on right there. I saw this quick question before too. I see we got a couple coming for the buzzer here. What should I say instead of offer? So I'll give you one. I feel like you guys are trying to pull out too much from us here, man.
This is
good. We might have to make this the last question here. One thing that I will say is try and just, once again, get creative. Go on Thesaurus and put in the word offer and see what else you can find on that side. But what I like to do is I'll say I have something to share with you, right? I got something to share with you. I don't got something to offer you. Based off, I love how things are looking on your side. I got something to share with you if you're interested, right? That's one way that you can just start to frame it differently and avoid using that ugly term offer there. I don't know if you want to add on that. Probably actually, don't add on that. They don't need more. Don't even. I'm gonna zip that on that one. I see one. Is this one last one here? Replying to user, program service guidance to resolve X problem identified.
I think they're probably yeah. I think they're replying to someone else's.
Oh, gotcha. Program service guidance to resolve. Yeah, at the end of the day, guidance to resolve. And once again, think of this when it comes down to like what your script is. Your script a lot of the time should consist of, okay, so insert problem, blah blah blah, right? Insert their goals, then blah blah blah, right? Really start listening, and that's why me and Haitham are big on taking notes when you're on calls, right? So in reality, this is so important because all is going to come back to play when it comes down to you actually making an offer that's going to convert that much higher there.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Awesome there, man. Well, let's go ahead and I'm gonna wrap this up before I see another question come through, because we're just giving too much gold here. Once again, we'll do it one last time here for us. Comment value right there. Let us know if you guys got some value out of this. Hit the like and the love button. We appreciate you. Appreciate the OGC community here. We'll see you next Wednesday as always. I'm not gonna have Haitham here, so I'm glad that you guys at least got to soak in what you got from him this week here. But super pumped that he was able to join us. And I will see you all next Wednesday. All right. So take care, everyone. I see that. Thank you to all the values. Love it. Appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you all next week. Hey, thanks for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and like this if you got a ton of value from, which I hope you did. Subscribe to the channel and absolutely go ahead and join us in our original chapters community. Links right down there in the description. And as always, you are designed to become who you choose to be. I'll see you later.